Fifth grade Excel level, lesson 65, recognizing tenths and hundredths places, recognizing decimal words, writing decimal numbers as mixed numbers, and writing mixed numbers as decimals. We got quite a bit to learn in this lesson here. So let me bring this back up to the top. That's not the beginning of the lesson. Okay, here we go. Up to now, we have been working with the places to the left of the decimal point, over this way, right? Today's lesson deals with the places to the right of the decimal. So up till now, we've known that the third place over is the hundreds, and then we have the second place over is the tens, and the place right next to the decimal point is the ones. Now we're going to be looking at places to the right of the decimal point. The first spot over is called the tenths place. Notice that we've stuck a TH in there, and these are numbers that are worth less than 1. This is 4 tenths that you're seeing in that spot there. And then the next spot over, it's 2 places past the decimal point. That's called the hundredths place. Notice again we have a TH, and how this tenths kind of corresponds, goes along with the tens over here, and hundredths would then go along with the hundreds, or the hundredths along with the hundreds. And the decimal places are going to continue in that same manner along here. So the next one after hundredths is going to be called thousandths, because that's the name of the next place over here is thousands. So we're going to call it thousandths, and it just keeps going like that. It copies exactly, it mirrors what you see happening on the left side of the decimal point, only there's a TH being added in, and these numbers are getting smaller and smaller in value rather than bigger and bigger. And it asks you down here, it says the places to the right of the decimal represents parts of whole numbers. Can you see how dimes and pennies relate to the decimal places? Well, dimes are tenths of a dollar, and so this spot here is your dimes place. Pennies are hundredths of a dollar because there's 100 pennies in a dollar, and this is your pennies place. So this is kind of like representing 5 pennies and 4 dimes. All right, we'll get that cleared out and move on to the next page. Oh, turn the pen off for a second and move that down just a little bit. All right, the number 1.37 is modeled below by the shaded area. The 1 square on the left is 1 whole. This right here is 1 whole, and it's the 1 is in the ones place. The square in the middle has been divided into 10 equal parts with 3 shaded. So you can see it's to the right of the decimal point. There's a 3 there. That 3 is in the tenths place. This whole square represents 1 whole, just like this one was 1 whole. And then we have 3 that are shaded. So that's representing 3 of these 10 bars. We're dividing this whole into 10 pieces. 3 of them are shaded, representing 3 tenths. And then it says the square on the right has been divided into 100 equal parts with 7 shaded. So each one of these little tiny squares is 100th of 1 whole. And again, the whole square is 1 whole. 7 little squares shaded, 7 hundredths shaded out of the 100 total pieces. And so we have 1 whole, 3 tenths, and 7 hundredths. Another way to say these decimal point numbers is calling that 37 hundredths, because these 3 tens could be, let me clear this out and show you how this would work. 3 tens could be like 1 tenth, tenths, not tens, 2 tenths, all the way down there. And then here's another tenth, 3 tenths. So you see on the hundredths part over here we have 30 hundredths there, and then 7 more hundredths right here, making a total of 37 hundredths. This is similar to how we describe the places to the left of the decimal. The number 24 can be thought of as 2 tens and 4 ones, or 24 ones. So 2 tens, 4 ones, or 24 ones, 24 wholes. Alrighty, now we'll go on to the next part here, and we'll look at converting mixed numbers into decimals. The directions say write each of these mixed numbers as decimal numbers. 3 and 4/10 can also be written as 3.4 because that 4 is in the tenths place, 3 and 4/10. Notice that there's 1 0 in the denominator and the 4 is 1 spot past the decimal. There's a relationship there. The next one, 1 and 24/100. Notice there are 2 zeros, and so there are 2 numbers past the decimal point. So 1.24 or 1 and 24/100. These two are equal to each other. The next one shows you how it can kind of get a little tricky. This is 2 and 7/100. Again, notice there are 2 zeros in that denominator, so there has to be 2 spots past the decimal point. 2 and 7/100. Notice the answer is not written like this. That's 2 and 7/10, not 7/100. And notice it's not written like that because that is 70/100, not 7/100. The 0 holds the empty place. There are no tenths. There are only hundredths, 7/100. Number 4, 3 and 50/100. 2 zeros, so 2 numbers past the decimal spot there, decimal point. 3 and 50/100 is the way that's written. Okay, why don't you try just number 5 and then pause the video and turn it back on to watch the answer for number 5. Okay, this is 2 and 3/10, 1 0 in the denominator, so 1 spot past the decimal point, 2.3, 2 and 3/10. Go ahead and do 6, 7, and 8. Pause the video, turn it back on when you're ready to see the solution. This is 3 and 7/10, 3.7, 3 and 7/10, only 1 spot past the decimal. This next one, 2 zeros, so that means there's going to be 2 numbers after the decimal point, 4 and 30/100. And the hardest one, 1 and 6/100. 1 and 6/100 is 1.06, not 60 and not 0.6, because there's 2 spots past the decimal. There's my 2 spots for the 2 zeros, and this is 6/100, not 60/100. All right, this next part is going the other direction. 4 and 25/100 can be written as 4 and 25/100 as a mixed number. 2 and 5/100 can be written as 2 and 5/100. Again, notice the 2 zeros, the 2 spots past the decimal. When you have 2 spots here, we need to have 2 zeros down in the denominator. 3.9, 3 and 9/10 is the way you read that. Here's 3 and 9/10. This is 0.4 or 4/10, only 1 spot past the decimal, so only 1 0 in my denominator. Why don't you give 13 through 16 a shot and pause the video, turn it back on when you're ready to see the answers. 0.07, that means there's going to be 2 zeros in my denominator, and the number here is 7, not 70, but 7. So the answer is 7/100. This has the whole number of 2, and then there is 1 number past the decimal point, so there's only 1 0 in the denominator, and the answer is 2 and 8/10. And then 8 and 36/100. Excuse me, I need to put an 8 first, and then there are 2 spots past the decimal, so I need 2 zeros in the denominator, and the 36 gets written as the numerator. And here we have 2, and then 2 spots past the decimal, so that means I need 2 zeros, and then 80 is my numerator. Now that's also equal to 2 and 8/10. As you start doing these, you'll understand that this 0 is basically meaningless, so 2 and 8/10 would be the correct answer as well. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Now what we're going to do is take a look at words written that we're going to change into digits or into decimal numbers. So this is what we call standard form over here, and this is word form. So 126 and 5/10 Here's 126 and 5/10. Notice that the decimal point is for the word and. The word and represents that decimal point right in there. All right, number 18 says 205 and 1600ths. Why don't you go ahead and try to write that one here. Pause the video and then turn it back on to see the answer. So the first part before the and says 205. So I have to write 205. And then it says and 1600ths. So I put the decimal point for the and put 16 that ends in the hundredths place. Okay, the next type that we're going to do is just giving us different digits in a number. They're not necessarily in order, so you have to read these and place them where they belong. It says 3 tens, so I'm going to put a 3 where I think the tens place would be there. 100, well that's the hundreds place. And 2 hundredths, well the hundredths place is 2 past the decimal. That's the last one, so I have no tenths and I have no ones. So that's 130 and 2 hundredths. And why don't you try the rest of these, 20 through 22, pause the video and then turn it back on when you're ready to see the solutions. Number 20, 100 and 5 hundredths. We're going to write the number 100 before the decimal and 5 hundredths. We've got to put a placeholder in there to hold the tenths place because it's 5 hundredths and not 5 tenths. Number 21, 186 and 92 hundredths. We're going to write the number 186 first, and then and, decimal point, 92 hundredths. Put 92 after the decimal. And then here's another one of those problems that's just like number 19, where they just kind of mix up the digits and you have to figure out where they go. It says 2 tenths first, so I'm going to put a decimal point right here and put a 2 after the decimal because that's where the tenths place is. 3 hundreds, that's going to be out here, so I put a 3 in the hundreds place. 4 ones, that's right next to the decimal. And 1 hundredth. Hundredths place is out here, and I notice there are no tens mentioned, so I need to put a 0 in there as a placeholder. So the answer is 304 and 21 hundredths. All right, let's move on. Now we're going to go the reverse of what we just learned on that last part, and we're going to write words for the standard form. And the first one is done for you. 124 and 7 hundredths, written out here in word form. Let's try number 24 together. 307 is the way you say that before the decimal. So you're going to write all words, all letters, no digits at all. 300. Hopefully you can read this. It's a little bit tricky with my computer tablet. 307. And then we write and for the decimal point. And then there's a 1 in the tenths place. So we write 1 tenth. We don't write tenths because there's only one of them. So we write 1 tenth. All right, why don't you try numbers 25 to 27. Pause the video, turn it back on when you're ready to see the solutions. Number 25 says 511 and 60 hundredths. So we're going to write 500. Well, you know what? This isn't working too well. I think what I'm going to do is show you the solution that's already typed on there for you. Probably be a little bit easier for you to read. Here they are right here. 511 and 60 hundredths. And then number 26, 140 and 8 tenths. 8's in the tenths place. The last one, 100 and 48 hundredths. So there you have it. That's lesson 65. Thanks for watching.